Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 40. Yes, that's right, we're up to episode 40 of the Local to Global here. Now, of course, this episode we are going to be having Do a Disrespect, which will come after this this first TV show of the episode, which is also the Go Home show. But we also have we've got some interesting things to take care of. Let me just show you the size first of all. We are still 4 points away from getting that pay-per-view deal. We need the 4 points there in Alberta. Like I said in a few previous episodes, next month we will probably start running our TV show in Alberta. At least the first two shows, just to get a gauge on how we're sort of going. Because as you can see, we only have 2 months. Well, just over the 2 months and the rest of this month here in August to basically get our pay-per-view provider, our pay-per-view broadcaster. And I do really want to get that done as soon as possible. I really don't want to renegotiate with Ondem. I know realistically we could just renegotiate with them and then actually get the other deal as well, and essentially choose who we go with, you know, on the actual pay-per-view itself. But I want to play it a little bit more realistically and essentially have only one broadcasting deal for each, you know, separate show. I guess apart from maybe our own broadcaster in the future, but I want that to sort of be the premise behind it, and just to have that one deal, you know, essentially available at all times. I do think we can get it done as well, so I'm not too worried, but I just want to sort of seal the deal, if you know what I mean. Just get it done. Get the 35 popularity required in Alberta, which will be our 5th and final region that we need to get a medium size broadcaster for pay-per-views, essentially, which I think will be very, very beneficial. Boy, wouldn't Austin Smooth be a decent signing? Definitely a indie darling, if you will, of the Seaverse. And of course, if you watched my Road to Glory back on TEW 2016, he was a pretty big part of it. He was actually like one of the first signings I actually made, and we essentially brought him everywhere we went. Albeit it was only 2 companies, but yeah, he was a pretty integral part, especially of my my tag division, my mid card. I would like to bring him in, similar to I guess what we've done with Mobstar, because of course Mobstar was essentially in a tag team as well. Well, he was part of a stable back on that Road to Glory. Anyway, enough talking about that. We need to talk about the local to global. Now, I would say our progress it's going pretty well. It also seems to have, I don't know, I guess slowed down a little bit. And what I mean by that is whoa, that's a lot of offers and a lot of contracts that are running out. Let's have a look at a few of them. All right, so this is obviously Americana, who is more than likely not going to go. Well, actually, both of them, Americana and Blue Dragon, both are wanted by Black Maple, which is pretty funny. Mark Raisin, who is with CWA, don't really like his star quality. He's also got a needy personality, so we'll take a miss from him. Jay Silver also being offered a contract there by Black Maple. What else have we got here? We've got Darren Smith, who is SWF's, I assume, backup referee. He might be their first referee, I'm not too sure. But again, we don't really need another referee. And if we really did, I would probably go with the CZCW guy. Anyway, Laura Catherine Higgins. She's a pretty decent manager there. But I don't think she's going to be too cheap. Although she's not being offered another contract. I feel like Laura could be a really, really good manager for Maddie Faith. Interesting. Not that like Maddie Faith actually needs a manager, but she would. Well, she looks like she would be a perfect fit. Anyway, Jefferson Stardust leaving us. Obviously, we couldn't actually even negotiate for him, so that kind of sucks. We do have a chance to go in for Titan, but I don't think he's going to want to come to us either. As you can see, extremely popular in the US. He's very good for especially for a big man as well. But as you can see, he's going to be extremely expensive, and as you can see, he does not want to even negotiate with us. So there we go. It'd be nice to actually have a look and see. Interesting that Burning Hammer have also put in a contract offer. Basically every big company, EILL, CWA, even Oli, coming in for Titan as well. And of course the usual suspects there, and of course TCW, you know, giving him an extension offer as well. Alright, well, yeah, it actually wasn't too much to really look at there, but pretty much just Titan. Anyway, let's get into it. I've got... Well, I don't actually have any real plans for this show. So I'm going to have to kind of think of something on the fly. What do we got? We're Jack Pride lifting the locker room, providing a free crate of drinks for everybody. Which is nice to see. And then, of course, we're going to hold the show in Ottawa, because it is the go-home show. We have a little bit of a ritual, I feel like, now. Although that's... Well, some of it's probably about to change. Anyway. What do we need to do? I feel like I have a main event in mind. And I think we'll go for it. So, of course, over the last episode essentially was when we did it. But Zeus and Davis have now become... They've become friends again. They've gotten over their differences over the previous month, you know, the Warzone month. And they're back aligned with each other, back as the Golden Goats. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to have a bit of a, you know, I would say it's a familiar sort of match where Zeus is going to try and batter the competitor for Davis. And of course, that is James Diaz. So I think we're going to give a pretty big win, pretty big victory here to Diaz. We might even put, I think we'll put Davis onto color commentary as well. I feel like that's actually a pretty good match. That should rate pretty highly. Anyway, the rest of the show, I want to have a tag match. I want to have John Greed and Jackpot Jordan teaming up. Where is he? John Greed. So Wall Street Enterprises. And I think I want to give them maybe just like a relatively easy match. Nothing too serious. So I think maybe Los Hermanos 2 is probably a decent little option for them. Basically, that's going to be just the sort of opening match to the show. And of course, we'll have an angle with John Greed. So I think I do want to have John Greed potentially take on someone else at the pay-per-view. So actually, we could potentially do a stable versus stable match. I'm not 100% sure if I want to actually go with that or not. But definitely Greed will be involved in some sort of capacity. What else do we need? Of course, we have the tag team title storyline as well. And we did do Papa Swole. And we did do... No, we haven't done... Oh, yes, we did. I thought we might not have done both matches, but we did. So what storylines do we have? Because I, for the life of me, cannot remember. Alright, so we got Angry Gilmore Mobstar, which will obviously be the culmination of that storyline. Let's do... Alright, let's do this. Let's have a tag match between... who do I want to go with? That's a good question. But I know who's going to be in this match. So, well, I know who's going to be winning the match anyway. Let's go Zach Powerson. And he's going to be teaming up with... Not with Cooper Christie, because he's already involved. Where is he? Jack Jackson. And I guess they can take on Feel Good Inc. Again, Feel Good Inc., they've really... I've let them down. They've really fallen sort of to the wayside a little bit. But we will give the victory to Jack Jackson. That's fine. I think we want to give it to Monton. Okay, so that's a good match there. We need a singles match. Wasn't I gonna do Leicester and Cupid Christie again? Let me go to my history here. So we had him beat him there, but we had them beat them there as well, and we had them beat them there. So they've been pretty dominant. Okay, so in that case, I'm just trying to think. What I might do is we'll have somebody else take on Cooper Christie. So Cooper I can take on, I think, Giant Brody. Yeah, so this is kind of like I guess it doesn't really have much of a meaning in regards to any sort of, well, it does have a meaning in regards to the storylines, and we'll find that out in a second here. But not directly, if that makes sense. So we can definitely call, and it's going to be tainted. And of course, it's going to be an outside interference finish onto Cooper by Wicked Leicester. And then there's going to be a distraction on Cooper Christie as well by Zombie Boy. So that is going to lead to the final match between these two, between Christie and Zombie Boy. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. That will be for the Canadian title as well. With that said, let's have, I think I want to have our tag team champions take on maybe Doomsday Generation. Feel like this will be a pretty good match as well. Not really, but for the purposes of, getting another victory there for both Taylor and Brett. So that will be non-title. Do we have a storytelling match already? No, we don't. I think this match here may as well be storytelling. Okay. I think that should be good enough. Actually, I don't want this to be a regular match. Let me make the Young and Wasted Doomsday Generation match storytelling. Okay. So what else have I got to do? I did want to do something with Gilmore, but I just can't really think of what we should do. All right, let's do this instead. Actually, let's do a 6-man tag, and we're gonna have Angry Gilmore teaming up with Bram Gorman and Goldstein, and they can take on the team of Mobstar, Kavanaugh, and Stephen Parker. Yeah, I mean, that kind of fits, actually, because obviously Stephen Parker still kind of feuding with Bram Gorman. Even though, I mean, realistically, the storyline's been over for a little while. But I do need a loser in the match. And I think Stephen Parker is almost the perfect loser for this one, if I'm being honest. So there we go. Kavanaugh. We need Monson for that one as well. And that looks pretty good. So, looks like it's going to be a very heavy match TV show here. I'll lower these matches a little bit, back down to 10 minutes. Purely for the fact that I do want to try and fit another angle or two. Alright, so let's go with an Angry Gilmore angle. I guess Mobstar can be involved as well, but not speaking on any sort of entertainment level. Change that. Let's have Monson Road Agent that one as well. That'll kick us off. We then need, I feel like Zach. I mean, I'm not sure. Can Zach even do an angle? That's the real question. Is that 28 popularity? He could be able to. So let's go Zach and Jack. Try them both on entertainment. We will script them both because I think Jack was doing pretty well with a script to follow. So we'll do that one as well. that'll be perfect prior to their match. We then need I think we'll go James Diaz. Actually, no, let's go Davis. We'll go Davis onto Diaz himself. I think we'll just go with Diaz. Yeah, we'll go with both of them speaking, I think. I was just going to go with Davis. I know I said Diaz, but I think it's that one, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so that looks pretty good. That'll be, I guess, pre-main event. I mean, it could almost be post-main event, but it doesn't really need to be. I guess we can fit kind of 2 angles, kind of. So what I'll do, let's do Wall Street Enterprises. So let's go John Greed and Jackpot. They can have an angle together there. We'll give them 8 minutes. And then what we'll do is we'll give a 6-minute angle to Cuba Christie and Lucinda Lush as well. Yeah, so let's do that. I mean, it's only 6 minutes, but should be perfectly fine. So Lucinda and Cooper. I think we needed to script her from what I remember last time. So let's do that. That can also advance their storyline, the New Boys. Okay, that looks pretty good as far as a go-home show. Considering I didn't really have any proper plans. Alright, so let's save that. Let's do a quick pre-show match as well. Let's go with Davis, and let's go with... I'm not really too sure. Maybe Osono? Osono kind of makes sense, I guess. And they can take on the Crew. I don't really want the Crew to lose, but I feel like they'll... Okay, never mind. Won't be Osono. We'll go with... I don't really want to go with Doc Hammond. I could maybe go with Jack Pride. Go with Jack Pride. So yeah, let's have Davis get the win onto the Crew. Like I said, I don't want the Crew to lose because they're obviously going to the tag team title match. But at the same time, them losing to the current world or unified world champion, it's not terrible. It's not a horrible thing for them to do. And hopefully he'll rub off a little bit, at least onto Papa Swole. That'd be quite decent. Anyway, let's run the show. Alright, so we start off with a pretty decent rated match. We get a 67 here for the pre-show. And we have Davis Wayne Newton and Primetime Jack Pride defeating the Crew in 12:21 when Davis Wayne Newton pinned Public Enemy with a fisherman's suplex. So it's a decent match. I thought it might actually be a little bit better, but at the same time, usually I'm putting the Golden Goats into tag team matches, and this time, obviously, Jack Pride being in there is probably just dragging that down a little bit further for Davis to try and carry. It's still a pretty decent rated match, and hopefully, like I said, at least some rub-off effect from Davis. Psychology is obviously the main part that we really want, but anyway. We then open the show with a 99 rated angle from Angry Gilmore. Who else but Angry Gilmore? And of course, he says that he's ready once and for all to wrap up this, well, he doesn't say storyline, but this rivalry. I guess rivalry would make sense. So many positives here, which is really good to see. Came across well, worked the crowd well. The announcing quality lifted it. Color commentary gave it a boost. Of course, he's got the hot catchphrase. Strong start to the show and got the crowd hotter as well. I don't think I've seen that much green before, so I kind of like that. Anyway, he says that the rivalry will come to an end at Pure Disrespect, and he's looking forward to it. Alright, so we then kicked the show off as well. And for some reason I just did a slow build, but really doesn't matter that much at all. We get a 77 rated opening match. Big 6-man tag, full of lots of main eventers and upper mid-carders. We do have Angry Gilmore, Graham Gorman, and Ozzy Goldstein defeating Mobstar, Mighty Kavanagh, and Stephen Parker in 11:33 when Angry Gilmore pinned Stephen Parker with an anger management. Lots of very, very impressive in-ring performances there. Kavanagh, the only one under a 70, which is very interesting. Stephen Parker with a 70 as well. That seems a little bit above what I would expect from him. We also had Goldstein off his game. Even despite, getting a 78 in-ring. So, really good match. Really good. Alright, we then move straight into a tag team match, getting a 64 rating. We have Young and Wasted defeating Doomsday Generation in 9:49 when Brett Kyle pinned Wicked Lester with a shooting star press. And of course, Sinner being the weak link as well, as we would expect. But luckily, neither of them off their game, which is, you would have to say, a positive thing to see. Anyway, it was kind of just a warm-up match for Young and Wasted, and we're already kind of using Lester on the show, so we may as well put him in a match. Alright, we then move into a 50 rated angle from Zach Powerson and Jack Jackson. Of course, they almost look like twins in their renders. They look very similar, except for the cigar and sunglasses for Jackson. But yeah, they've got a tag team match together. Of course, they are the New Boys. All three of them with, Christie in there as well. They don't have an alliance, but they have a bit of a pact that they're essentially going to look out for each other's backs. And that's essentially what this angle comes down to. The tag team match is actually very, very good. We get a 60 rated tag team match. We have Zach Powerson and Jack Jackson defeating Feel Good Inc. in 9:53 when Jack Jackson pinned Gary Walker with an implant DDT. Yeah, it's a solid match. Really solid. I wasn't really expecting a 60 out of this one, to be honest. So I'm pleasantly surprised. Yeah, good stuff from the New Boys. Good to see Jackson getting a solid 45. Obviously, Powerson still has a lot of work to do, but hopefully he's getting there. Hopefully. Alright, this one, little unfortunate. We get a 41 rated angle from Lucinda Lush. Of course, she's hyping up Cooper Christie, her client. And of course, Christie has a match, a pretty interesting match up against Giant Brody next. As you can see, this angle did cool the crowd a little bit. So, cooling the crowd can have its benefits. Especially if you have a very highly rated beginning to a show. If you have a high, which we have, to be honest, with that 77 rated match at the start of the show. So to bring them back down is good, because it will obviously bring them back up a little bit. As I guess this is kind of the midway point of the actual show itself. Alright, that's a really, really good match. We get a 69 rated match from Giant Brody defeating Cooper Christie in 11:44 by pinfall with a single-headed chokeslam, following interference from Wicked Lester. During the match, we also had Zombie Boy distract Christie. So yeah, Christie basically, unfortunately for him, he had a big opportunity up against Giant Brody, but he fell short. And of course, it was essentially the Forces of Darkness stable that he has been feuding with. And of course, Zombie Boy and Lester basically costing him the match. So he's gonna be pretty upset about that, and he's gonna definitely want to try and take away the Canadian title from Zombie Boy. Alright, we then move on to a 77 rated angle where we have John Greed and Jackpot Jordan. And of course, they're in tag team action up next. But basically, they say that they're looking to bounce back from their loss last week, where they had a 6-man tag, and of course, they lost that match. But yeah, they're looking to bounce back, win some more money, and go into the pay-per-view looking strong to claim their pay-per-view bonuses. Good to see Jackpot Jordan actually improvising well without a script. That's a very solid rated angle. I feel like their angles are getting better and better, especially with John Greed and of course Jackpot as he has quite a bit of popularity now as well. All right, we then move into their match, and this is what I'm talking about. They get a 70 rated tag team match out of Los Hermanos 2, which is the worst combination of the stable there. We do have John Greed and Jackpot Jordan defeating Los Hermanos 2 in 9:59 when John Greed pinned Ray Cavallero with a crash diet. Solid in-ring performance there from Jackpot with a 71. John Greed not far behind with a 61 there as well. They're looking good though. This could be a decent tag team. Although we already have the moneymakers. It'll be interesting. Anyway, we move on to an 86 rated free main event angle. And of course, both of them are actually rated. And of course, they are scripted as well. So Davis and James Diaz. Bit of a war of words prior to the main event, which of course Diaz will be taking on Zeus Maximilian. And yeah, as you can see, James Diaz benefiting from having a hot catchphrase as well. That's a pretty solid angle to hopefully a pretty solid main event as well. Okay, it's decent. We get a 78 rated main event, so it is the best match on the show, which is nice to see. Just beating out that 6-man tag. And realistically, the match rating is a lot higher than the in-ring performances. So I think this one was pretty well booked, if I'm being honest. We do have James Diaz defeating Zeus Maximilian in 1953 by pinfall with an Asian thumb spike. And yeah, very, very similar in-ring performances. We've got 68 for Zeus and a 67 for Diaz there. As you can see, Davis was pretty weak at the announcement booth, so maybe we won't do that again. Was there actually a penalty there for, yeah, there was. So essentially this could have been an even better match. Diaz was also penalized for inconsistency because of his age, but we're not going to worry about that too much. Anyway, let's finish the show. It's been a pretty good go-home show. We get an 82 overall show rating, which is good enough. Definitely good enough. And as you can see, increasing our popularity in 54 regions, despite Hawaii and Puerto Rico. I'm assuming it's both those regions, but I honestly have no idea. It very well might not be either of those regions, because we do have tiny coverage in India and Japan, I think. Just those two regions. We can check it in a second. So let me finish that. We'll go back to the main screen here. I'll just double check that. I'm pretty sure it's India and Japan for Ondem. And I think everywhere else except for Europe is small. I think Europe is very small, if I'm not mistaken. I might be. Anyway. 382,000 viewers there for Coalition Wrestling. So it's a pretty decent viewership. Good to see. Interesting. That's a wow. That's obviously a really bad show. They only got an 83. They still beat us by 1 point. But their main event, Thunder and Lightning defeating the Mob. And the Mob is, of course, their best workers, essentially. Sunny Wildside. Oh, was it not Sunny Wildside? Oh, it was Ricky DeColt. Not, who's the other guy that's in that stable? Oh, I forget what his name is. Oh, what? I can't believe I'm blanking on his name right now. Yeah, interesting. Can't believe that they made Sunny Wildside lose. I mean, Ricky's got really bad popularity there as well. Interesting, but I guess Thunder and Lightning are the tag team champions for them, so in some weird way, it actually does make sense, I guess. Anyway, let me check the broadcasting. So, as you can see, it's small everywhere. Tiny in Japan. And yeah, Europe is very small. and then India is tiny as well. But I do feel like it is Hawaii and Puerto Rico for some reason. I feel like because it mentions population. There's not enough viewers there to begin with. I'm pretty sure if we check check the US, it'll show us that. Anyway, we have gone up in popularity. We're up to 40 in Saskatchewan, 54 in Manitoba, and we are indeed up to 32 popularity in Alberta. So fingers crossed with pure disrespect if we actually, well, we should get a really good show out of it. And we will, ooh, interesting. We will hopefully gain another point of popularity. That'd be pretty ideal. Anyway, what did I want to check? I feel like there was something, but I'm just not remembering. Anyway, yeah, Maddie Faith will be able to work tomorrow. Now, I have had an interesting idea for Maddie Faith. I would like to make him the leader of a stable, and I feel like we have almost the perfect stable that will fit him. But we'll go into that next episode. So we might have him debut. We'll give him a singles match on the pay-per-view here. And then I'll potentially go into, well, next episode we'll go into what is actually going to essentially come of him. So let's advance. I do actually like the idea that I have. I feel like it's very fitting. Allows Maddie Faith to be the leader of the stable. And it also allows one of our almost forgotten jobbers to be a part of a stable as well. And some of you guys might be pretty happy with that because it's a guy that we've really underutilized for his whole career here. And I feel like he is very talented, or at least talented enough to be doing more, if that makes sense. Even if it is still him losing matches, he'll be more involved in storylines, which I feel like overall is going to be much more beneficial for us. Interesting. Titan extends his deal with TCW. So Sonaz Shah has been signed by CWA. Of course, Maddie Faith is with us now. And Tyson Bane is essentially available. He's still actually wrestling at 52 years old. I mean, he's barely wrestling at 52 years old. I mean, he would be decent, but he's 52, and there's really just no point. Okay, so yeah, let's get into our pay-per-view here. Of course, you guys kind of know exactly what matches are going to take place. Apart from maybe the Maddie Faith one. Alright, so we're just missing Willie LaRue, which is nice. We also have Gabriela Ortega in fine form before the show, keeping everyone in a great mood with their hilarious road stories. Nice. Always good, but of course our backstage rating has been at 100 for a very long time. Of course, we are going to Toronto as well. And let's book the main event. So it's going to be Diaz and Davis, as you'd expect. It's going to be a very good match. I think I do want to give it 30 minutes. I think it deserves 30. Little bit worried about Diaz's psychology, but he should be fine. He also gained 2 points of popularity from the angle and actually beating Zeus on that last show. So I feel like he's been helped quite a bit. We've really sort of elevated him with this storyline over the last month. Of course, the Unified World title does need to be on the line. Okay, so next match, let's go tag titles. They're very simple. Obviously, we have Young and Wasted taking on the Crew. This one's, I would say, pretty straightforward. I want to give it a little bit of time, though. I want to give it about 16. Just because I really do like both of these teams. And there's so much potential between them as well. There's like I said, there's these guys and these guys. They're both probably going to feud again throughout the course of the series. And I have no doubt in my mind that the crew would make a very, very good tag team champions. And of course, Papa Swole would make a very good mid-card champion himself. Even now. Speaking of the mid-card title belts, let's put that on the line next. So, Zombie Boy taking on Cooper Christie. This one can only be... I mean, we can give it... Let's just give it 13. And we are going to have an interesting victory here. I think I also want to make it all out as well. Let's really try and go for the best match rating possible. And once again, make sure we put the Canadian title on the line. Okay. So our other big match really is, of course, Gilmore taking on Mobstar. Essentially, the winner of this match will become the new #1 contender. We will have to keep it to 10 minutes, of course, purely for the fact of Gilmore. But yeah, it's going to be a decisive victory, this one. So pretty simple, pretty easy. A lot of you might have expected where it was sort of going to go. We'll go into it a little bit more, once we actually get into it, get into the show. Up next, I'm not sure if I want to go... Let's do this. I want to have Doc Hammond team up with Graham Gorman, and they're going to take on John Greed and Jackpot Jordan. Just going to be a 12-minute match. We will give Graham the victory. And it doesn't really matter who loses, but it will probably be John Greed anyway, so that's fine. This one can also be our storytelling match. We also might have a botched interference in here as well. Onto John Greed by Stevie Parker, which will essentially cost him the match and cost them the money. That'll be interesting. And of course, I guess we've essentially got one more match. We are going to have an angle with Jack Jackson and of course Zach Powerson as well. I think they might have an angle with Cooper Christie and Lucinda Lush as well. But let's go with the debut of, where is he? Matty Faith. And he will take on... I have absolutely no idea. We also haven't used Goldstein. I think I wanted to do Goldstein and Kavanaugh, but... Too sure how much time we have left. I think Matty Faith will take on Yutaro Sono here. Just a 12-minute match. He'll get a victory on his debut as well. Even at the expense of Sono, but it's fine. It's got to happen essentially. All right, so we've got plenty of time, so let's add that extra match in there as well. So Kavanaugh taking on Goldstein, and purely for the fact that I don't really like Mighty Kavanaugh all that much, and of course he currently has morale issues. He's going to take a loss here, and I am perfectly... He's really complaining again. He really frustrates me. He really does. Alright, what's our problem? Public Enemy is being used too much. That is unfortunate. I guess in that case, we'll go all out for this one as well. Okay, so who was it? RM Stones. Alright, so we need some more refereeing. This match can be refereed by Dace and... Oh, it says that it's fine. I guess it is. I mean, that's actually kind of the show. But we do need to do our angles. So let me go a James Diaz angle for the pre-main event. Then we'll go a Davis angle for the post-main event. What else? I wanted that Cooper Christie, so let's go Lucinda Lush. Actually, let me go Jack Jackson, Zach Powers, and then Lucinda and Cooper. Okay, that kind of works out pretty well. Give them all success. They'll all be together in the same storyline. Well, actually, I don't think all of them are involved. So that's perfectly fine. Jackson, Zach. Alright, so that'll go before the Canadian title match. Basically, these... Well, I'll talk about it in a second once we get into it. I do want a Matty Faith angle as well. This one will go unscripted. I want to see how he'll actually perform. That'll go before his match. We'll also have an Aussie Goldstein angle to kick off the show. It should be pretty good. And then, of course, we also need the perpetual... Actually, this time, let's go Mobstar onto Angry Gilmore. Mobstar is also really good at angles, so he can very well cut his own promo. Might not be as good as Angry Gilmore, but it'll be up there. It'll definitely be up there. A solid 80, probably. Okay, that looks pretty good, and we're almost out of time as well. I guess we could maybe go Wall Street Enterprises. Yeah, I mean, why not at this point? Let's go John Greed and Jackpot. All right, there we go. So we've actually essentially got an angle for each match, which is, it's good. It's good and it's bad. Sometimes I don't like to have, well, nearly every match. But sometimes I really don't like to have matches and angles one after the other. I like to have, or sometimes I like to have, you know, matches by themselves, you know, back to back, if you will. Anyway, let's do a 6-man tag here. Let's have Charlie Corner team up with the Rock City Stars to take on the team of... Which team? Actually, let's go Los Amanos. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So that'll be our first pre-show match. Let's give Charlie Corner the victory. I think has Charlie ever gotten a victory? That would actually be something interesting to look at. All right, so I think for these matches, let's just go with Kavanaugh. The other 2 pre-show matches we're going to do. And the next match will just be Jackson and Zach together, I think. And they can take on Red, White, and Blue. Perfect. All right. And for this one, we'll give Zach the victory. Okay, there we go. That actually looks pretty good. That looks like a solid pay-per-view, in my opinion. Let's run the show. All right, so we start off with a 47 rated pre-show match where we have Jack Jackson and Zach Powerson defeating Red, White, and Blue in 12:29 when Zach Powerson pinned Americana with a press power slam. It's a good match. It's a solid sort of lower mid-carder to mid-card match. We're also in front of over 40,000 people in Toronto as well. So that should be said. Yeah, we move on to a 57 rated pre-show match where we have Charlie Corner and the Rock City Stars defeating Brothers for Life in 11:45 when Charlie Corner pinned Louise Frost with a corner cutter. And of course, Louise being the weak link there as well. Charlie Corner with a 43. That's actually pretty decent. And we also have Marco there with a solid enough 50. Still the leader of that stable. All right. We then kick the show off, or the pay-per-view off, Pure Disrespect 2023, with a 97 rated angle from Aussie Goldstein. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. And of course, hopefully this is going to be a pretty big win for Goldstein as well. Not a great match. That's really not a great match. It should have done better than a 68. But obviously we are keeping Kavanagh strong, which is going to affect and penalize the match rating itself, which is unfortunate because this could have been a lot better. It really could have. But we do have Aussie Goldstein defeating Mighty Kavanagh in 1955 by pinfall with a golden shower. Very solid 83 in-ring performance there from Goldstein. Not really too sure what to actually do with him. He will get another title opportunity at some stage down the line. Just not 100% sure when. Yeah, anyway. We move into a 58 rated angle from Matty Faith. Unscripted. And he enjoyed having the freedom to go off script. He's also debuted his second generation star gimmick, getting an initial rating of great. So that's a much better gimmick rating than the other guys have gotten, such as Cooper and Zach. So I'm very happy with that, if I'm being honest. As you can see, no pros or cons for the gimmick. That's fine. Lucky there are no cons. And of course, he's involved in a match. A very, very good match as well. A 69 rated match. We have Matty Faith defeating Yujiro Sono in 12:23 by pinfall with a leap of faith. And that is a solid debut. A very solid angle, even better match. And he actually outperformed Osono, a 62 in-ring to Osono's 57. I'm very, very happy that I made that choice to sign Matty Faith, because I was pretty hesitant when I was doing it. So definitely no regret there so far. And like I said, I feel like he's going to make a pretty good stable leader, and it's going to be a fairly strong stable as well. All right, we then move into an 86 rated angle. Like I said, Mobstar is no slouch when it comes to angles. And of course, this time he's the only one rated on entertainment. And of course, he's cutting a promo onto Angry Gilmore prior to the start of their match. And basically, Mobstar says that he's going to win. He's going to face Davis, and he's going to win the Unified World title and essentially do what Angry Gilmore couldn't do. And of course, you know, Gilmore, the long history between him and Davis, and Mobstar just taking a few shots at the fact that Gilmore lost his CWC World title in that title unification match. So, yeah, Mobstar says he's going to essentially one-up Gilmore and do what he couldn't do. The match is really good. I knew this was going to be a solid match. We get an 83 rated match between Mobstar and Angry Gilmore. And we do have Mobstar defeating Angry Gilmore in 9:55 by pinfall with a flattener DDT. And of course, Mobstar therefore making himself the #1 contender for the Unified World Championship or World title. And of course, he will take on either Davis or James Diaz at the next pay-per-view. Solid match though. Very solid match. Alright, we then move into a 74 rated angle for John Greed and Jackpot Jordan. Of course, Wall Street Enterprises. And they're going into an interesting match. It's kind of a little bit thrown together at the last minute. And, I mean, it does have a storyline associated with it, of course. Graham Gorman essentially going after Wall Street Enterprises for quite some time now. But this, hopefully, will be the end of it. The match is decent as well. We get a 75 rating here, and we have Doc Hammond and Graham Gorman defeating John Greed and Jackpot Jordan in 11:44 when Graham Gorman pinned John Greed with a Gorman Aghast. During the match, we also had Stephen Parker accidentally hit John Greed. Yeah, not a great match there for Wall Street Enterprises. And essentially, like I said, Graham has, or he will hopefully be moving on from Wall Street Enterprises now. I kind of want to push him back up into the main event scene, whereas this is all the other competitors in this match are sort of upper mid-carders, if you will. Whereas I do see him as a true main eventer. Alright, we then move into a 50 rated angle from Jack Jackson, Zach Powerson, Lucinda Lush, and of course they're all three of them are trying to hype up Cooper Christie as he goes into his Canadian title match. And of course, hopefully, you know, they all say that they have his back, especially Lucinda there as well. Of course, she is his manager. The match is very good. We get a 67 rated match, and we do have Cooper Christie defeating Zombie Boy in 12:42 by pinfall with a top rope elbow drop. Cooper Christie wins the CWC Canadian title. Finally, the second time of asking, he gets it done. This time there was no outside involvement, and as you can see, Zombie Boy could not keep his title. But he did outperform Cooper Christie. A 61 in-ring for Zombie Boy there, and a 54 for Cooper Christie. Alright, we then move in, or straight into our next title match, getting a 69 rating. Is very, very decent. I would have liked to have seen this one go for 16 minutes with a slow build. It would have been interesting to see if it would have actually beaten the 69 here. Anyway, we do have Young and Wasted defeating the Crew in 14:24 when Taylor Norton pinned Papa Swole with a tumbleweed splash. Young and Wasted making defense number 2 of the CWC Coalition Tag Team titles. And I have to say, a very, very good performance from Young and Wasted. Both Brett and Taylor getting 70 in-ring performances there. Very, very solid. They are looking quite good. Okay. We then move into a 74 rated angle. Not the best in the world for James Diaz here. But he says it's his destiny to win the Unified World title here. You know, he once held gold. He once was the world champion. But tonight he wants to win it all, win it back, and take his place as the tippity top of CWC. He wants to essentially be the big dog. I know. I kind of regretted saying it after I said it. But he wants to become the big dog of the Coalition. And that is a very, very good main event. That has definitely saved my faith in James Diaz. Get a 92 rated main event. We have Davis Wayne Newton defeating James Diaz in 30 minutes 24 seconds by pinfall with a fisherman suplex. We have Davis Wayne Newton, the GOAT himself, making defense number 4 of the CWC Unified World title. What a match. What a match. Got a 94 in-ring there for Davis and a solid 71 for James Diaz. But I'm going to guess after this match, his popularity should be quite a bit higher, in my opinion. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking that out. Anyway, we do have one more angle left. And we go into a 92 rated angle as well with Davis. And basically he says, you know, it wasn't, well, James Diaz thought it was his destiny, but little does he and the rest of the roster know that it is my destiny to become the longest reigning Unified World Champion, I guess. And he essentially means that he's going to try and break his own record, holding the world title as well. And yeah, solid way to finish off the show. And I'm pretty sure that's our best ever show rating. We get a 90 rated pay-per-view here. 90 for Pure Disrespect 2023. I'm 100% sure I've never seen a 90 rated show. So we're definitely doing the business. And I'm hoping that's going to lead to another point of popularity in Alberta. Anyway, praising. We need to praise Kavanaugh We need to praise... Is it Zach or is it Cooper? I'm just going to do both of them. Purely for the fact that I don't actually know who has the morale issues out of them. I know one of them does because they both have really bad gimmicks. And one of them was upset about the gimmick. So hopefully a little bit more praise will go a long way with resolving those issues. And if it was Cooper that had the morale issues, then hopefully his matches will be a little bit better now that he has no morale issues. So that would be ideal. Anyway, we are wow, 406,000 viewers for pure disrespect. There, that's really good. That is very, very solid indeed. But let's have a look at a few things. Let's have a look at the size first of all. We're up to 75 popularity in Ontario. That is absolutely insane. But I'm very, very happy with it. As you can see, we need 77 popularity in 5 regions. So, assuming they're going to be these 5 regions here, the main ones, obviously Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. But obviously, it has to include both Quebec and Manitoba. So, well, it doesn't have to. It can be one or the other. But essentially, they're both the spillover. So, it makes sense for it to be both. And they're also our second... Oh, I guess... I mean, they're essentially tied highest, being 56 and 54. But yeah, we did actually gain another point in Alberta. I think we did anyway. We were 32, weren't we? I'm pretty sure we were 32, so I think we did gain another point. So we are literally, potentially 1 month away from getting that pay-per-view deal. Which would be perfect, and I cannot wait to show you guys how much money we are going to make from being on pay-per-view. It is going to be very, very special, to say the least. Anyway. So it was indeed Cooper Christie with the morale issues. And he still has them, which is unfortunate. Same with Kavanaugh. Did Kavanaugh gain some popularity? Yes, he did. He gained 2 points of popularity as a result of losing that match. And I guess he might have actually gained some with the 77 rated match on the TV show as well. Anyway, Diaz. Ooh, I was just hoping that'd be decent. I think he gained 1 point. So I think he was already at 62, if I'm not mistaken. Although he has gained 4 points overall for this month. So it's promising. It's promising. All right, who else? Let's check Mobstar because obviously, ooh, that's nice. That's very nice. He's going to be our next #1 contender. He's up to 76 popularity in Ontario. So that's up there now. That's really up there. Looking good. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but Mobstar versus Davis will probably be our best ever match. As long as, there's no negative chemistry between them or whatever. I don't see how it could not be our best ever match. They're both extremely popular. And they are super, super talented in the ring. Anyway, I was going to advance one day. We'll do that towards the end of the episode. But I also want to check. So let me check Zach first. Up to 31 pop. Okay. Looking good. Psychology also gone up 1 point for this month as well. So I really like that as well. Even his selling's gone up as well. All right, so he's looking promising. He's looking really promising. Still needs a lot of work on that psychology. I just wish that he would get a mentor. Like him and Angry Gilmore would be perfect. Anyway, there's nothing we can do there. Good to see Goldstein up to 72 pop. So he was on 69, I believe. Yep, so he's up 3 points as well. So like I said, he will be another competitor sometime down the line. So I'm looking forward to that. We also might maybe build to Kavanaugh. maybe becoming the next #1 contender, because his popularity is also up there. Might have actually made more sense for us to do Kavanaugh first against Davis and then Mobstar, just to maybe build up Mobstar just that little bit more in the hopes of, you know, actually getting our best ever show. Anyway, the next thing I want to check is our top 100. And there you see, of course, last episode we had our best ever show, and we've now surpassed that again by 1 point, 89 up to a 90 for pure disrespect, but it looks good and it feels even better, I have to say. Title prestige, 55 for Canadian, 43 for the tag team, and we are indeed up to 72 for the first time ever for the unified world title. Yeah, so he's held it for 113 days, and he's got 4 successful defenses. Now, if you remember back, he equaled the most ever defenses of the world title before it became unified with Americana Junior with 6 defenses. So he's got a few more defenses to go if he wants to be the most successful champion, and essentially hold it for the longest amount of time as well. So yeah, what else did I want to do? I wanted to check something else. Let's advance that one day. And then I think I want to check Angry Gilmore's popularity as well. Then I think we might do a bit of a creative meeting as well, just to see if anything has actually changed. I'm a little bit curious, and maybe some of you guys are as well. I know there are a couple of you that really like to see sort of the progression, especially of like the younger workers as well. But I also want to check. So I want to check Gilmore. I want to check Maddie Faith and Cuba Christie as well. Just double check him. And I guess we can check Jack Jackson as well. Alright, so Elliot Thomas, the resident jobber of TCW. Actually, he looks really good, to be fair. Looks very, very good. Almost makes me a little bit upset that I don't sort of push him a little bit more and use him a little bit better. Yeah, I don't think we want to go in for him though. I don't think there's kind of no point, and I kind of almost want him to stay with TCW. Anyway, let's have a look at TCW. We actually beat TCW's pay-per-view, which I would say is pretty ridiculous that we beat them. Let's be real. Our show should not have been better than their show. They got a 99 rated main event. And we have Ernest winning the TCW World Heavyweight title. They got a 98 rated pre-main event, or I guess it would be joint main event probably, considering the level of quality. They then had a 92, a 96, and an 86 rated tag team match. So they're doing some pretty big things there. That's pretty impressive, I have to say. But we still beat them. So there we go. Better than TCW. Kind of. Not really. We would be, though, if I had this type of talent. Or this type of popularity, if you will. Anyway, enough about that. So let's check Davis as well. Let's check him first. I think he might be stuck at 87. Yeah, I'm thinking he might be stuck there. Which is perfectly fine. I think 87 popularity is more than enough, to be honest. Really just hope he doesn't fall into time decline. Alright, so Cuba Christie is up to 49 popularity, which is decent. As you can see, he's been pushed pretty hard. He's now up to 49. He was at 34 when we first got him, so he'll be a main eventer in due course. Won't take too long, probably, but he is going to essentially be our new Angry Gilmore in the ring, just not on the microphone, which is fine, because we have Jack Jackson to... I don't know why I keep going out of the roster page, but we have Jack Jackson to be our new mouthpiece for the company. He's up to 42 popularity, which I guess he was on 37 last month. So it's a decent 5-point gain as well. And of course, we already checked Zach, but let's check Maddie Faith, who's up to 46 popularity, which is impressive. Gained 4 points from that one show. So his push will be coming pretty fast. Looks like his psychology might be capped, and it looks like his basics might be capped there as well, which is a bit of a worry. But at the same time, I think that 73 and 74 should be good enough for him to become a main eventer. I think he should be okay. And who knows, he might actually improve as well. I think I want to test him out and put him in a match against Davis. Maybe even the main event of this next episode's first show. Anyway, as you can see, we made another 675,000. So it's down a little bit from June. But essentially, we're making more in ticket sales. However, we're also spending more on show costs and, of course, on workers as well. So it is what it is. We also made we made more in merchandise, but obviously less than the month previous due to the, one less pay-per-view that we had. So I think everything's looking pretty good. So let's have a look at the creative meeting here, and then I think we'll wrap up the episode. But our top 5 franchise players: Davis, Angry Gilmore, Mobstar, Goldstein, and Zeus. Next big things, obviously Zach and Cooper. We then have Papa Swole, Osono, and Jack Pride. Hot prospects, we've got Powers and Christie. Jack Pride in at number 3 there. Papa Swole and Osono. So essentially our top 5 prospects, or up-and-comers, if we will, are essentially the same for both Next Big Things and for Hot Prospects. Talk the Talk, we got Gilmore, Gary Walker, which is obviously a little bit of a surprise. Jack Jackson, like I said, going to be essentially our new Angry Gilmore mouthpiece, if you will. And then, of course, we've got Papa Swole and Kavanaugh. So, I mean, the crew have some decent talkers in their ranks. They really do. Showstoppers, we've got Davis, Zombie Boy, which is surprising. Cooper Christie, Mobstar, and Goldstein. Ring Generals, we've got Graham Gorman, Christie in there again, as well as Davis, Mobstar, and Goldstein. Who's hot? I mean, they all pretty much go without saying. Who's not? We actually have nobody. That seems strange. I feel like Original Sinner should be in here somewhere. Anyway, doesn't matter. Hidden Gems. Yeah, I mean, everything looks about the same. I mean, we could always bring Spencer back. Of course, Spencer was essentially one of our original workers, as you can see. We essentially signed him right at the start of the game. But of course, we had many, many problems that we ran into. And as a result, we had to release him. But it was for the best. And we've definitely come a long way. Anyway, that is going to wrap up the episode, guys. Make sure you smash a like if you haven't already. And also subscribe to the channel with the notifications turned on. Apart from that, as always, take it easy and goodbye.